I got home late that Tuesday, not crazy late, just 40 minutes past my usual. Traffic, rain, a detour by the hardware store. I still had my jacket on when Lauren started in. "You're late." "Again." "Clock says 6:40. I answered, dropping my keys in the bowl by the door. "I texted you about the detour." She stood near the sink with her arms crossed like she was guarding it. "You also didn't fix the loose knob on the bathroom cabinet." I asked this morning. "You were home all day," I pointed out. "You could have tightened one screw." "I'll do it now if it's so urgent." Lauren snorted. "Of course, now that I brought it up. And there's no dinner. I figured you'd bring something if you were going to be late." "So you were home all day and decided neither the knob nor dinner were your problem?" She turned away. "I'm going to bed." I stared at her back, then at the empty stove. "You're not hungry?" No answer. The bedroom door clicked. I cooked eggs and a couple of tortillas because they were easy, ate at the counter, and listened to the quiet. Funny thing about quiet, it tells on people. Lauren used to fill our place with noise. Music, humming, dumb jokes while I built shelves in the garage. The silence now was a different kind of thing. If I'd known where it was headed, I would have bought a lock for more than the bathroom cabinet. I finished eating and fixed the knob anyway. It took 90 seconds. The next morning, she acted like nothing happened. "Don't forget the trash," she said, grabbing her yoga mat. "Hey, about last night. I'm late." She left. No kiss. No glance. Just the door and the faint smell of her lotion. I was still believing it was a rough patch. I'm a reasonable man. You talk, you fix. You show up. That week, I booked a table at the little Italian place down on the creek, the one she liked because their bread stays warm in a basket like it's being hugged. I put a note on the fridge, Friday at 7. Dress nice. My treat. Friday came. She drifted in at 6:50 with a paper cup of coffee and a bored face. "You ready?" I asked, jacket already on. "For what?" "Our dinner." "Check the note." She skimmed it. "Right. The thing. I'm tired, Jack. Maybe we just order something." I breathed through my nose and reset. "Okay. Tomorrow then. I already called ahead today. I'll change it." "You do that," she said, dumping her bag on the couch. "And for the record, I don't love that place anymore. Too greasy." "No problem." I shifted plans, got us a reservation at a farm-to-table place my buddy Evan swore by. Saturday morning, I tightened that knob a second time because it had loosened again. Maybe the wood was stripped. Either way, I was trying to be a man who does the things. Saturday afternoon, she came home with shopping bags and zero eye contact. "How about tonight?" I asked. I moved the reservation. She flicked through her mail. "I don't feel like it. My stomach's off." "You want soup?" "I want quiet." "You've had a lot of that lately," I said. "We both have." She finally looked up. "Are you starting something?" "No. I'm trying to start dinner." Her smile had no warmth. So dramatic. I let that one pass. That night, I made a simple steak and a salad. I set the table like it meant something. Lauren ate 3 bites, scrolling her phone. "You know what you are?" she said, not looking at me. "An optimist with a grocery list," I said. "Predictable. Boring. You think a steak fixes everything. It won't fix disrespect." She scoffed. "You're sensitive now." "I'm a grown man," I said. "If something's wrong, say it. Don't snipe from across the table. Maybe I'm tired of being disappointed." She finally put the phone down. "You're fine for small stuff. But big picture? You play it safe. You earn okay money. You tighten cabinet knobs like you're saving the world, and you want a medal for showing up on time. It's small. I like my life," I told her. "I like the house we built, the work I do, the friends I trust. If you don't, use your words." "Maybe I have." She stood. "Maybe you didn't hear them." "I hear a lot of noise," I said. "The signal's weak." She laughed and left her plate. I cleared the table. The next morning, I took initiative. New rule. We split chores by competence and schedule. I drew a simple board on the side of the fridge. Days, tasks, initials. I added an envelope for receipts and set up a separate card for household expenses with a weekly load. No lectures, just structure. She saw it after her shower. "What's this?" "Clarity," I replied. "Dishes, laundry, grocery runs, yard. We divide it and track it. The card keeps the household spend clean. If we need more, we talk about it. I'm done guessing who's doing what." "You're regulating me now?" "I'm regulating the chaos." Her tongue clicked. "Cute. And that card thing is rich." You're that worried about pennies. I'm not worried, I answered. I'm tired of feeling like an ATM with a toolbox. We commit to the same rules or we don't live under the same roof. Pick. She moved closer, chin up. Pick. You think you're in a position to make demands? You snore through life, Jack. You don't lead. You follow. And now you want charts. Charts don't lie, I said. People do, to themselves mostly. She shook her head, but didn't pull the board down. That was the first quiet win. I canceled our planned weekend outing with her cousin. Another endless ritual where I pay for everyone while being told I'm sweet. I texted, "We're out this time. Have fun." Lauren saw me send it. "Wow," she said. "Way to be cheap. Way to be clear," I replied. "We're scaling back on things that drain us." She stared, calculating. That night, she brought me a beer when I was in the garage tuning the mower. "I was rough earlier," she said from the doorway. "You've been decent. I shouldn't have snapped." "Appreciate it." She came over, leaned on the workbench, washed my hands with the wrench. "You've always been good with this stuff. It's not nothing." "Thanks. You want to try that farm place next week?" "My treat." She nudged the bottle toward me. "Maybe," I said. "Let's see how the week goes." She left a little smile behind. That was the first softening, and I'd be lying if I said it didn't land. But it felt like a weather pattern, not a climate. Monday, different weather. She started copying me on text to her friend Jules about me, finally trying to act like a man. Not an accident. She wanted me to see it. I stepped into the kitchen. "If you have feedback, bring it to me, not Jules." "It was a joke," she said. "Your jokes lately come with a price tag. Lighten up." Evan's birthday hit midweek. He's an old friend, a builder with hands like lunchboxes and the grin of a teenager. He and his wife, Naomi, hosted at their backyard. Fire pit, burgers, a cooler full of something cold. I told Lauren early and gave her an out. "We're going," she said flat. "I'll need you to drive. I want a drink." Naomi met us at the gate with a hug. "Jack, you brought the guest of honor," she teased toward Lauren. "Drinks are over there." Evan clapped my shoulder. "You look tired, man." "Home's been active," I said. "Got it." Lauren drifted away, found Jules near the fence. I handled the grill for a bit, then worked the circle like I always do, 2 feet on the ground. Small talk, that's actually talk. I brought a plate to Lauren. "Want a burger?" I asked. She eyed it. "How many calories?" "It's a party, not a weigh-in." Jules smirked. Jack's in hostess mode. Lauren took the plate with 2 fingers. He lives to serve. I didn't rise. "You want onions, or no?" She waved the plate at the group like a trophy. "Look, trained." A couple of heads turned. Evan watched me, not her. Naomi stepped closer. "You good, Jack?" she asked quietly. "I'm fine," I said. Then to Lauren, "If you don't want it, say so. Don't pout." Lauren tossed back. "God, you're sensitive." "Or direct," I said, keeping my voice even. "Big difference." "Big difference is what you don't have," she said, letting her voice carry. "Ambition, presence, you know, the stuff that makes a man interesting. You think kindness is a personality. It's just basic." The circle went quiet in that way where sound is still there, but people stopped contributing to it. Evan's eyebrows dropped. Naomi's mouth tightened. Jules looked like she was waiting for sparks. I set the plate down on the patio table. "Any specifics, or just vibes?" "Specific." She tapped her glass with a ring. "You adjust to me. You adjust the plans. You adjust the budget. You adjust to everyone. When was the last time you made a big move? Started something? You're safe. You're small." "Small like cabinet knobs," Jules added, trying to be funny. It flopped. "Funny," I said. "Let me put something on record, Lauren. I don't mind adjusting when 2 people row in the same direction. Lately I'm rowing. You're drilling holes in the boat. You hear that, guys? He thinks I'm the problem." Evan finally stepped in, voice calm. "Lauren, you're taking shots at a friend in his house. That's not how we do it." She rolled her eyes. "Relax, Dad. We're just joking." Naomi glanced at me. "Want me to pull her aside?" I shook my head. "No need." I looked at Lauren. "I'm not doing this theater." She waited for me to explode so she could play the mediator. "It's a pattern." I didn't. I put my drink on the table, nodded to Evan, thanked Naomi, and walked out the side gate. I didn't hurry. You don't rush a line you're drawing. Evan caught up at the curb. "You need a ride?" "I drove us," I said. "I'm heading home. She can Uber, or Jules can be useful for once." You sure? I'm done being the entertainment, I said. Thanks for the burgers. At home, I opened the hall closet and took down the 2 suitcases. They were hers, bought during a year when we still planned trips. I set them on the bed and filled them with her drawer content, her bathroom caddy, a couple pairs of heels she saved for nice restaurants we stopped going to. I didn't throw things. I folded and zipped and stacked like a man who meant it. When the last case clicked shut, I set them by the door and leaned on the wall, arms crossed. Half an hour later, the door opened with a gust of perfume and a laugh that was cut short. She saw the bags. Her face lit up. Finally, you're leaving. I won. I couldn't help a dry smile. Congrats on the championship. Only those are your bags, Lauren. You're leaving my house. Silence, then a high noise that wasn't quite a laugh. Excuse me. You heard me. I'm not going to be mocked in my friend's yard and then share a pillow like nothing happened. I'm done. Take your things and go. She stepped closer, jaw out. You're throwing me out? Over a joke? Over me trying to shake you out of your coma? You've been shaking for months, I said. All you've done is knock things off shelves. I've put up with your jokes longer than you earned. That supply is gone. Bags are packed. Want me to call a car? You can't do this. We are married. We have a mortgage with my name on it. We had a plan. You walked off it. I'm not forcing you to stay where you hold me in contempt. Hotels exist. So do friends with couches. Pick. You're cruel, she tried. Look at you. Cool. I'm clear. You know I don't have a place lined up. You had months to build one. She stared at the suitcases like they had insulted her too. I'm not going anywhere right now. I'm going to bed. No, I said. You're not. I picked up the smaller case and set it by her feet. You leave tonight. My boundary isn't imaginary. She grabbed the handle, eyes bright with anger. You'll regret this. Maybe, I said, but not tonight. She dialed someone, Jules, I figured, muttered, grabbed her sandals, and headed to the door. At the threshold, she turned with a smirk. Give it a day? You'll calm down and call me. I opened the door wider. Don't wait by the phone. She left with a door slam you could hear on the next block. I locked it, walked through the house, and turned off lights. Then I slept like a man who decided to stop explaining. At 8 a.m., I was at the county clerk's window. I filled forms without feeling grand about it. I didn't gloat, didn't post, didn't build a speech. I signed. I made 3 calls on the way home. To Evan, to my sister Melissa, to my boss Marisol, because work schedules often get messy when life changes, and I like clean lines. You okay? Marisol asked. Better than okay, I told her. I'll be at my desk at 9 like always. You want a day? I want routine. I can do that. The following days were quiet in the good way. I made coffee without thinking about who I was disappointing. I sat on the porch after dinner and listened to the street, not the tension. Word travels among friends whether you want it to or not. The messages came in trickles. Naomi texted, you didn't deserve that. We got you. Evan called. I'm proud of you for leaving. Took guts. I should have done it earlier. Maybe, but you did it now. 2 days later, Jules posted a story at some wine bar with Lauren, captions about fresh starts and choosing happiness. Fine. Choose away. I kept my part moving. I separated the rest of our stuff, boxed what was obviously hers, made a list for the rest. I stopped reacting to her texts because the first ones were bait. You're overreacting. You embarrassed me by walking out. You owe me a conversation. No, no, and no. Boundaries are only boundaries if you hold them when they're tested. Then, midweek, came the second softening. Lauren called and left a voicemail that sounded like a radio host trying sincerity. Hey, I'm sorry, okay? Things got heated. I didn't mean to blast you at Evans. I'm stressed. I want to try. Can we meet at that diner near the station? Just talk. No jabs. I played it twice because I'm honest enough to admit an apology rings in the ears. I thought about it while oiling the hinges of the garage door. Then I texted, not meeting. If you have logistics to discuss, email me. She wrote back a string of dots. Then, wow, cold. I set my second new rule, all communication in writing. Paper trail, low drama. Logistics only. She responded with silence for a day. Fine by me. The weird part? Life got lighter. I met Evan at the park for a pickup game with his neighbors. I took my motorcycle out toward the river and ate lunch at a food truck 2 towns over. I knocked out 3 small jobs for clients because I had the room in my head to solve actual problems. And I slept well. Then the narrative machine started grinding. Naomi called. I should tell you, she said. Lauren's been telling people she left you. That you didn't care about the marriage, and she was the only one fighting for it. She's painting you as checked out, lazy, a drag. I laughed once because sometimes the punchline writes itself. Does anyone buy it? Not our crowd. They saw the scene. But friends on her side might. Just so you know. I appreciate it. Melissa came by with a bag of takeout and a look only a sister can give. She's spinning a story, she said without sitting yet. Do not react publicly. I won't, I said. I'm in the business of results. By the second week alone, I was moving like myself again. After work, I hit the range with Evan. On Fridays, I sat on the patio at the taproom with people from the shop. There's a comfort in adult laughter. A couple of women talked to me because I looked like a man who knew where his feet were. I told one of them, Dana, that I was fresh out of something complicated. She said, then don't be complicated now. We had coffee on a Sunday, talked about everything but the past, and it felt like what it is, normal. At home, the absence of Lauren's commentary was a relief I could measure. I kept the house neat because that's how I live. I cooked simple dinners. I opened windows and let the air do its job. There was no edge hiding in the closet. I would have sworn the place even smelled different. 2.5 weeks in, my phone lit up with unknown calls. I ignored them. Then my email pinged. We need to meet. You can't avoid me forever. I left it unread. Boundaries don't debate themselves. The third week, I turned onto our block and saw her sitting on the low brick wall by the maple, arms wrapped around herself like it was a prop. She stood fast when I parked. Jack, she said, voice pitched high, practiced breathy. She moved in for a hug. I held up a hand. Stop. Why are you here? Her face crumpled into a performance I recognized from long before. She used to use it on clerks to get fees waived. I made a mistake, she said. I was angry. I said things to hurt you. I got scared you were slipping away, and I pushed. Please, can we talk inside? I'll make tea. I can explain. No, I said. Please. I miss you. I miss us. We've been missing for months, I replied. You didn't look for us. You looked for a mirror. Her jaw worked. I'm asking for a chance. I heard you, I said. My answer is no. Her switch flipped fast, the way it does with people who practice it. So that's it. You just end us? You block the cards, you freeze me out, and then you act like I'm the problem when I'm literally begging you. I blocked the cards because household money funds the household. You chose not to be in one. You want help? Get a job. You know I can't just. I don't have money for rent. I can't move in with my parents. It's a nightmare there. Please, just until I get back on my feet. I'm not financing your comfort, I said. Comfort is earned. She wiped dry eyes. So you don't care if I end up on the street. I care about not living with someone who treats me like a doormat and then asks for a pillow. I'm not your safety net. I'm not your villain. I'm a man who picked a line. She stepped closer again. I'll change. I swear. I'll go to counseling. I'll delete Jules if that's what it takes. I can be what you need. Just let me in. I don't need an actor, I said. I need respect. You spent it. The look she gave me then was sharp and real. You'll regret this when your little friends stop clapping and you're alone with your lists and your neat little house. You're not special, Jack. You're just stubborn. I've been worse, I said. Take care of yourself. I opened the door, stepped inside, and shut it behind me while she was still inventing the next line. She hit the door with a gentle fist. I didn't open it. She stopped, stood a minute, then left. I watched from the side window because I've learned to verify. She got into a ride share and disappeared. She didn't come back. She didn't try to meet me again. I got a short email 2 days later. I'll pick up the rest of my boxes Saturday with Jules. Please leave them on the porch. I did. She arrived while I was out, according to the camera. 14 minutes. They left a tote behind labeled winter scarves. I put it in the garage and forgot it existed. Word filtered through people we both knew. Lauren moved in with her parents, then out after a week, then into a small room she rented behind a restaurant kitchen. She took shifts washing dishes and sweeping. No shame in work. Work is good for anybody. She posted less, which I took as progress. Me? I didn't run victory laps. I cut the grass and changed the oil and kept my promises at the shop. The guys noticed I was lighter on my feet. Melissa got me to try a new hiking trail, and I found out my knees still cooperate. Evan and I took the truck out to get lumber, and turned it into a project just because, 2 Adirondack chairs for his yard. Saturday mornings, I started going to a coffee spot where the barista remembers your name if you're not a mess. I met people because I was present. Dana and I saw a movie in the park. She laughed at the right places without looking around to see who was watching. What I didn't do, crawl back for a second round. What I didn't say, anything I couldn't back with an action. When people asked how I was, I said, peaceful, and meant it. When they asked what Lauren's deal had been, I said, not mine to diagnose, and changed the subject. Naomi hugged me one night when the group was over. You know what stood out? She said. At my party, you didn't blow up. You just opted out. That changed the whole story. That was the point, I said. I don't win by shouting. I win by ending the game. 2 months later, the paperwork finished moving through its quiet channels. I got an envelope, opened it, read what I knew would be there, and filed it. I took the afternoon and drove out to the lake in my truck, the radio low, the window down. I walked the edge, skipped a couple rocks like a 10-year-old, then sat in the bed and called Melissa. It's official, I said. Proud of you, she said. You sound like you again. That's because I am. Back in town, I ran into Jules outside a grocery store. She looked at me like she expected a scene. I smiled at the bananas in my hand. How's Lauren? I asked, neutral. She's figuring it out, Jules said. She says you ruined her life. I took back mine, I said. She'll build hers, or she won't. Either way, it's not my project. She says you flipped a switch. I did, I said. It was labeled respect. Jules had nothing to add. We parted like acquaintances who would stay that way. A few weeks after that, I'm in my garage after work, Dana perched on the step with a lemonade, watching while I sand the top of a small table. I'm not showing off. I'm doing what I do. My phone buzzes once on the shelf with a number I recognize as Lauren's. I let it go to voicemail. Later I listen, because I'm human. Hi, she said. You were right about a lot of things. I thought if I pushed, you'd chase. I thought I could keep the upper hand and still keep the home. That's not how it works. I have a job now, if you can believe it. My hands are always pruned. I'm tired. I'm sorry. I deleted the message after I listened. If she needed to feel heard, the phone served that purpose. I didn't call back. Apologies are worth something. They just don't necessarily buy admission. I took the table inside later, set it by the couch, and it looked right. The house was quiet in the good way. I could hear myself think, and my thoughts weren't a debate team. I made dinner. Nothing complicated, and ate with the window open to the evening. Dana texted, thanks for letting me hang in your garage. It's nice there. I wrote, it's nice because it's simple. I've been asked if I regret not fighting more. The truth is, I fought the right amount. I did the work for months. The dinners, the board, the patience. I drew lines. When she treated lines like suggestions, I replaced them with facts. It's not romantic. It's clean. Sometimes men think their job is to be endlessly tolerant because strength and softness get confused. I learned my job is to set the rules of my life and invite someone in who wants to play a team sport. If they want another sport, they can play it somewhere else. No hard feelings. Just the door. As for Lauren, the last I heard from Naomi was that she's steady at the restaurant, moved into a small place not far from her parents. She doesn't post big speeches anymore. Maybe the work cooled her. Maybe the mirror she needed wasn't mine. Here's what I know. I kept the house. I paid off the truck. I started seeing Dana in a way that isn't heavy. My weekends are mine. Evan's kids shout my name when I walk up his driveway because I'm the guy who shows up with a drill and a joke. My sister says I sound lighter on the phone. The final thing I said to Lauren that mattered was at my own front door, hand on the knob, when she was fishing for one more scene. Between us. Over, I told her. You made your choice. I made mine. That line wasn't a performance. It was an operating system. It still is. And here's the part people never talk about. You don't have to hate someone to stop letting them run your life. You just have to stop supplying the stage. Turn off the lights. Pack the bags. Hold the door. Then walk back to your kitchen, cook your eggs, and tighten the cabinet knob because it needs it, not because anyone clapped.